Have you ever wondered that how do these Olympic athletes manage to shed their weight so quickly? And some even shed those kilos overnight. In fact, in the recent 2024 Paris Olympics, an Indian athlete, Aman Serawat, lost around 4.6 kilos in just a matter of 10 hours so that he could stay in the competition. And here we are, we can't even lose a single kilo in like a month. So, what do they really do that makes them lose these amount of kilos? And will it work for you or should you try it? Now, what they do is not magic, and they are just some very cool, surprising strategies that they really follow to be at their peak performance. And if you really want to know what they do, then stick around because I'm going to explain to you how do these elite athletes lose this much amount of weight overnight. So let's not waste any time and let's get started. All right, so let's dive into this whole world of Olympic athletes. Now, I remember that when I used to watch the Olympics, I was always amazed to see how they have made their bodies into not just for the performance, but also the way they've transformed their bodies. But one thing that I always wondered was that how do they manage to lose weight so quickly, especially a few days before a big event? It turns out that it's not just about intense workouts or a strict diet. There is a science to it. And since you're also curious to know, let's jump straight in. Now, one thing that these athletes do is something that's called SWM or strategic water manipulation. I know it sounds a bit technical, but it's actually quite fascinating. And a lot of these Olympic athletes that have to be under a certain weight category always use water manipulation as a part of their weight loss strategy. So, what athletes do is that they will deplete themselves or they will not consume water for at least 1 or 2 days before those weigh ins. And the reason they do this is because it helps them shed a lot of water weight very quickly. In fact, there is a study that is published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, which has shown that if you reduce your water intake before your weigh ins, it can lead to a very temporary loss in body weight. And you have to understand that all of this is done under professional supervision because it can cause a lot of dehydration if you do not manage it well. Now, next, let's talk about diets. Now, Olympic athletes go on a specific diet, which is a low carb and a high protein diet, especially before the event. This type of diet helps them shed that water weight and also reduces bloating. And the science behind it is very simple. So, carbohydrates, they hold a lot of water in your body. And by reducing carb intake, athletes can lose a lot of that water weight that they're holding. In fact, there is a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that has found that if you go on a low carb diet, it helps you shed a lot of your weight. That is also because of the reduced water retention. And most of the foods that these athletes consume is more of lean proteins and a lot of non-starchy vegetables. So their proteins include a lot of grilled protein and also a lot of leafy vegetables. And all of this is monitored by a health professional and a nutritionist, so it's properly measured and it's properly monitored. But it's not just Olympic athletes, a lot of your actors also do the same. So whether it's your Wolverine or your Superman or even a lot of Bollywood actors, they quite follow the same thing. And the only reason they do it is because when you reduce your water weight, your muscles are seen more clearly. So it makes your body or your physique look more chiseled and it looks more ripped. And when you're doing any kind of photo shoot, that's exactly what you want. So the reason their bodies look so amazing in those photos is because they do a lot of these extreme things, which again are short term, just so that their bodies look so amazing. Now, another trick that Olympic athletes use is doing a lot of sauna sessions. Now, saunas are really great for detoxification, but they are also amazing when it comes to weight management. And here's how it works. If you've ever been in any sauna, you know that it makes you sweat, which can lead to a temporary reduction in your weight. In fact, there is also a study that suggests that saunas increase your rate of sweating, which also causes temporary loss in weight. And because Olympic athletes are in a state where they really need to reduce every possible form of their weight very quickly, so they do multiple sauna sessions, which are very short, but it helps them reduce that water weight. Now, the next is athletes follow a regimen with intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting has become a very popular way amongst a lot of Olympic athletes when it comes to weight management. So what they do is that they balance themselves in cycles of their eating and their fasting. And the idea about fasting periods is all because so that their body can use stored fat for energy. There is also a research that's published in Cell Metabolism that states that if you do intermittent fasting, it can improve your fat metabolism and it can also be really good with weight management. And with that, of course, they do a lot of increased physical activity. And Olympic athletes literally level up their intensity of training just before their events, because this not only burns calories, but it also boosts their metabolism. So what they do is they try and incorporate a lot of high intensity interval training, or HIIT, which really helps them manage their weight very effectively. And even there is a study that shows that when you do something like an HIIT, it not just increases your calorie burn, but it also improves your fitness levels overall. And Olympic athletes, as we know, literally need to be on a very peak level of their fitness. So as much as they're doing their training for their sport, they also make sure that they do short sessions of high intensity interval training, because this helps them burn a lot of calories throughout the day, and also it supports their weight loss. And finally, what they do is a lot of mindful eating and portion control. Now, athletes are trained to eat very mindfully and also eat in portions, because that helps them overall with their health and also manage their weight very effectively. And sometimes they also go with a lot of diuretic foods like your tea, coffee, which kind of dehydrate you and pull out a lot of your water weight. That's why after you have coffee or after you have tea, you kind of feel a little more dehydrated. Now, this method is not really suggested even by experts when it comes to you losing weight this way. But in the short term, it really works because they have really high demands. And with that, they also consume a lot of low calorie foods like your watermelons, your cucumber, and even your lemon with water, because those things just generally help you shed those extra grams of weight that you're holding, which eventually helps them lose their overall weight. But when it comes to mindful eating, they make sure that they give or pay full attention to what they're eating, how the food tastes, being present in that exact moment of even chewing slowly and savoring each bite and even recognizing their hunger. Even research also shows that when you eat mindfully, it's not just you being present in the moment, but it also helps you with weight management. And with that, it also reduces or it stops you from overeating. So, there you have it. These are the strategies that these Olympic athletes follow when it comes to losing weight just before their weigh ins. And these methods help them lose that weight really quickly in just a matter of a few days. Now, should you try this? Well, not really, because they do it for a specific purpose and for a specific sport, and it's all for just a short amount of time. And rapid weight loss can harm short term memory, can reduce your focus, and also it can lower your self esteem. Not just that, it can also lead to confusion, anger, and also a lot of fatigue, which also somewhere does hurt an athlete's performance. And somewhere they're also very mentally prepared for going through all these things. But you have to understand it again that that is the demand of the sport, and also it's a certain purpose that they have to do it for. And plus, something like this for a normal person is not really healthy because that is too extreme. You don't really need to meet any kind of these health demands on a daily basis. That's why they say don't try this at home. And you have to remember that even though all of these are really powerful tools, all these athletes are monitored by professionals. And if you found this video really helpful, then do check out any of my other videos on health and fitness. And if you've tried any of these techniques or you have any questions, then I would love to hear from you in the comments. And until we meet again next, don't stress and be awesome. Rocher that.